Almost everything is ready, and the countdown is now reaching its most exciting stage. Bruno Mars is about to bring the romantic tour back to the United States, and all eyes are turning toward MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, for 4 highly anticipated nights on August 21st, 22, 25, and 26. This is not just another concert stop. This is the return of Bruno Mars to the US stage after the European and UK chapter of the romantic tour, and the atmosphere surrounding MetLife Stadium is already building into something massive. Before we get into everything happening around this historic stadium return, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave a comment telling us which Bruno Mars song you are most excited to hear at MetLife Stadium. Is it Locked Out of Heaven? 24K Magic? That's What I Like? Uptown Funk? Just the Way You Are? Or one of the newer songs from the romantic? Let us know, because the excitement is officially entering the final countdown. Now imagine the scene. A massive stadium in East Rutherford. Tens of thousands of fans preparing to walk through the gates. Giant production structures surrounding the stage. Lighting systems being tested. Crew members moving through final preparations. Sound equipment being checked. Screens waiting to come alive. And somewhere inside this enormous production machine, the final pieces of Bruno Mars' show are being put together. The countdown is no longer measured in months. It is measured in hours. The romantic tour is coming back to America, and MetLife Stadium is about to become the center of the Bruno Mars universe. For fans who have been following this tour from the beginning, the significance of these 4 nights is difficult to ignore. The tour has already traveled through major cities and iconic stadiums, creating unforgettable moments across its international run. Now, after the European and UK portion, Bruno Mars is returning to the United States for the second half of the US leg. And the first stop is enormous. MetLife Stadium. Located in East Rutherford, New Jersey, the stadium is one of the most recognizable venues in the New York metropolitan area. It has hosted some of the biggest sporting events, concerts, and entertainment productions in the world. But for 4 nights, the spotlight belongs to Bruno Mars. August 21st, August 22nd, August 25th, August 26th. For dates: 1 stadium, 1 enormous production, and thousands upon thousands of fans preparing for what could become one of the most talked about concert weekends of the summer. The interesting part is that a stadium show of this scale is never simply about putting an artist on a stage. Behind every Bruno Mars performance is an enormous technical operation. There are stage components that have to be installed and tested. There are lighting cues that must synchronize perfectly with the music. There are giant video screens, audio systems, special effects, backstage areas, security operations, artist transportation, dressing rooms, catering, rehearsals, and dozens of other details that the audience may never see. When the lights finally go down and the opening music begins, everything has to work almost perfectly. And that is why the days immediately before a major stadium concert can be some of the busiest moments of the entire tour. The audience sees the finished performance. The crew sees the hundreds of moving pieces behind it. And right now, those pieces are coming together at MetLife Stadium. Picture the camera moving closer. Zoom in. The stage. The lights. The empty seats. The massive field. The enormous production footprint. Everything looks quiet before the storm. But that silence is deceptive, because once Bruno Mars walks onto that stage, the entire building changes. This is one of the trademarks of a Bruno Mars concert. The performance is built around energy, musicianship, choreography, showmanship, audience interaction, and songs that are instantly recognizable around the world. There is no need to rely on a single hit. The Bruno Mars catalog is deep enough to transform a stadium into a giant sing-along. From Just the Way You Are to Grenade, from Treasure to 24K Magic, from That's What I Like to Locked Out of Heaven, and from Uptown Funk with Mark Ronson to newer material associated with the Romantic era. The setlist carries the weight of multiple generations of pop music, and that is what makes these MetLife shows so intriguing. Fans are not simply waiting for a concert. They are waiting to see how Bruno Mars turns a massive football stadium into an intimate party, because that has always been one of his greatest strengths. He can perform in front of an enormous audience while making the moment feel personal. He can slow everything down for a powerful vocal performance and then suddenly accelerate the energy with a full band groove. One moment, the stadium can be completely silent. The next, tens of thousands of people can be dancing at the same time. That contrast is one of the reasons Bruno Mars remains such a powerful live performer. And now, after the European and UK shows, fans naturally have another question. What will be different when the romantic tour returns to the United States? That question is fueling much of the anticipation. Will there be subtle changes in the performance? Will there be different visual moments? Will the energy of the New York and New Jersey audience create unexpected interactions? Could special guests appear? Could something completely unexpected happen during one of the 4 nights? There is no confirmed answer to every one of those questions. And that uncertainty is exactly what makes live concerts so exciting. Because unlike a music video or a studio recording, a concert can change in real time. A musician can extend a moment. An audience can create an unexpected reaction. A special guest can appear. Bruno can improvise. A song can suddenly become longer than expected. And sometimes the most memorable moments are the ones nobody planned in advance. That is why fans should not only be watching the stage. Watch the crowd. Watch the reactions. Watch the entrances. Watch what happens between songs. Watch the screens. Watch the musicians. Because the smallest detail can sometimes become the biggest talking point after the show. And there is another reason these 4 dates are receiving so much attention. The location. MetLife Stadium is not simply a venue in New Jersey. It is part of the massive New York entertainment market. That means fans from New Jersey, New York City, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, and beyond can converge on the stadium. For many fans, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see Bruno Mars perform at stadium scale. And the visual impact alone could be enormous. Imagine tens of thousands of phones lighting up during a ballad. Imagine the crowd screaming when the first familiar notes of a major hit begin. Imagine the entire stadium jumping during an explosive dance number. Imagine the opening moment when Bruno finally appears. That is the payoff fans have been waiting for. But before that happens, there is still one critical stage. The soundcheck. Soundcheck is where the illusion of the concert begins to become real. This is where the production team can evaluate the acoustics of the venue, the balance between instruments, vocals, monitors, and other technical elements. For an artist like Bruno Mars, whose performances depend heavily on live musicianship, timing and sound are everything. The band has to be locked in. The vocals have to cut through the stadium. The instruments have to remain clear. The lighting cues have to synchronize with the performance. And every transition has to feel effortless. The audience might never notice a successful technical adjustment. And that is actually the point. The best concert production makes complicated technology disappear behind the experience. You do not think about the cables. You do not think about the microphones. You do not think about the lighting software. You simply feel the music. And when Bruno Mars begins performing, that is exactly what fans expect. They expect the lights to hit. They expect the band to sound powerful. They expect the choreography to explode. They expect Bruno to command the stage. And most importantly, they expect a night they will remember. Now here is where things become even more interesting. The 4 MetLife Stadium dates are separated into 2 groups. August 21st and 22nd open the run. Then comes a short break. And after that, August 25th and 26th bring the second wave. That structure creates 4 separate opportunities for something unexpected to happen. Every night has its own audience. Every audience creates its own energy. And every performance can develop its own personality. That means the first night could feel completely different from the 4th. The crowd on August 21st may react differently from the crowd on August 26th. A moment that happens on one night could influence the conversation around the next. This is how stadium tours become living stories. The production may be planned. The songs may be rehearsed. The choreography may be carefully structured. But the emotional experience cannot be completely controlled. And Bruno Mars understands that better than most. He knows how to read a crowd. He knows when to let the audience sing. He knows when to slow down. He knows when to push the energy higher. And he knows how to turn a familiar song into a completely different live experience. That is why fans who have already watched the Romantic Tour are still talking about it. The tour is not just a collection of songs. It is a carefully designed performance experience. And now, that experience is moving back onto American soil. There is also something symbolic about beginning this US return at MetLife Stadium. Bruno Mars has spent years building a reputation as one of the world's most accomplished pop performers. His career has crossed pop, R&B, funk, soul, hip-hop, and classic showmanship. He has performed on some of the biggest stages in the world and built a catalog filled with global hits. Now, a stadium in the New York metropolitan area becomes the next giant stage. And the question is no longer whether Bruno Mars can fill the room. The question is what he will do with it. Because a stadium this large creates an entirely different challenge. A theater can feel intimate. An arena can feel massive. But a stadium is something else entirely. The artist has to control an environment that can hold tens of thousands of people. Every movement becomes part of the visual story. Every camera angle matters. Every lighting cue matters. Every musical transition matters. And every second of silence can feel enormous. That is why the opening moments of the MetLife shows could be particularly powerful. The stadium goes dark. The crowd begins screaming. The screens come alive. The band prepares. The anticipation reaches its peak. And then Bruno Mars appears. At that exact moment, months of planning become one live experience. The crew disappears from the audience's mind. The rehearsals disappear. The transportation disappears. The construction disappears. All that remains is the performance. And that is the magic of live music. But there is still one major question hanging over these 4 nights. What will fans remember most? Will it be a massive hit? A vocal performance? A dance sequence? A funny interaction? A surprise? A special guest? Or perhaps a completely spontaneous moment that nobody expected? We simply do not know yet. And that is why the countdown is so exciting. The closer we get to August 21st, the less this feels like an announcement and the more it feels like an event that is actually happening in front of us. MetLife Stadium is getting ready. Fans are getting ready. The production is getting ready. The musicians are getting ready. And Bruno Mars is preparing to step back onto the US stage. The Romantic Tour is coming home. And if the European and UK chapter has shown us anything, it is that Bruno Mars knows how to make a stadium feel alive. So when those lights finally go down at MetLife Stadium, remember what happened behind the scenes. The long hours, the technical preparation, the soundcheck, the rehearsals, the stage construction, the anticipation. All of it leads to one moment, the first note, the first spotlight, the first scream, and then the stadium belongs to Bruno Mars. For nights, August 21st, August 22nd, August 25th, August 26th, East Rutherford, New Jersey, MetLife Stadium. The Romantic Tour is officially entering another major chapter. And this time, the United States gets the spotlight. So if you are following Bruno Mars, the Romantic Tour, MetLife Stadium, Bruno Mars Live, Bruno Mars Concert 2026, or the latest updates from the tour, this is only the beginning. Because once the first night starts, the story will move from preparation to performance. And that is when we find out what Bruno Mars has really been preparing for. The stage is almost ready. The crowd is almost here. The lights are almost on. And Bruno Mars is almost back. Now the only thing left is to open the doors and let the show begin. If you are excited for Bruno Mars at MetLife Stadium, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you do not miss the latest updates, concert moments, reactions, and news from the Romantic Tour. And most importantly, tell us in the comments, which Bruno Mars song absolutely has to be the loudest moment of the night? Because the countdown is over, the stadium is waiting, and Bruno Mars is coming to MetLife. And just when it feels like the story has reached its final chapter, the most important part is only beginning. The return of Bruno Mars to MetLife Stadium is more than a simple continuation of the romantic tour. It represents another major moment in a tour that has already generated enormous attention from fans around the world. For months, audiences have followed the journey from city to city, watching Bruno Mars transform stadiums and major venues into unforgettable concert experiences. Now, the focus has shifted toward East Rutherford, New Jersey, where the next chapter is ready to unfold. The atmosphere surrounding MetLife Stadium is becoming increasingly intense. Every passing hour brings the concert closer, and with 4 scheduled performances, the excitement is not limited to one night. August 21st, August 22nd, August 25th, August 26th, for opportunities for fans to experience Bruno Mars live, for nights of music, for nights of lights, production, choreography, and thousands of voices singing along. But there is something about the first night that always feels different. The first show at a new stop carries a unique sense of anticipation. The production team has prepared. The musicians have rehearsed. The stage has been assembled. The lighting has been programmed. The sound has been checked. And eventually, everything comes down to the moment when the audience enters the stadium. That is when the empty seats begin to disappear. One fan arrives, then another, then thousands more. The field begins to fill. The stands begin to move. Phones come out. Fans take photos. People share videos. Social media begins to explode. And suddenly, MetLife Stadium is no longer just a building. It becomes part of the concert. This is one of the most fascinating things about major stadium tours in the social media era. The performance does not end when the final song finishes. A spectacular moment can travel around the world within minutes. A short clip from the stage can become a viral Bruno Mars video. A fan reaction can generate millions of views. A surprise appearance can dominate entertainment headlines. A single vocal moment can become the subject of thousands of posts. And a memorable interaction between Bruno and the audience can become one of the defining moments of the entire tour. That possibility makes every night unpredictable. Even when the production is carefully rehearsed, live entertainment always contains an element of surprise. That is why fans will be watching closely. They will be looking for every detail. What is Bruno wearing? What does the opening sequence look like? How does the stage appear from the audience? Does the set list remain consistent? Are there changes? Does Bruno interact with the crowd? Does the band extend a song? Are there special moments between performances? These questions may sound small, but for dedicated fans, they are everything. Because Bruno Mars has built a career where presentation matters just as much as the music. His performances combine old-school showmanship with modern concert production. The result is a show that can appeal to longtime fans and newer listeners at the same time. A fan who discovered Bruno through Just the Way You Are can stand next to someone who discovered him through 24K Magic. Someone who grew up listening to Grenade can share the same stadium with someone who knows every word of That's What I Like. And when Uptown Funk arrives, an entirely different part of the audience can suddenly become involved. That cross-generational appeal is one of Bruno Mars' biggest strengths. His music does not belong to one particular era. It moves between eras, connects different audiences, and inside a stadium, that connection becomes enormous. Imagine hearing tens of thousands of people singing the same chorus at the same time. For the artist, that moment is powerful. For the audience, it can be unforgettable. And that is what makes a stadium concert different from listening to an album at home. You are not simply hearing the song. You are experiencing the reaction of everyone around you. The bass moves through the venue. The lights change. The crowd screams. The musicians respond. And Bruno controls the energy. Then suddenly, everything becomes quiet. A single voice, a single spotlight, a completely different atmosphere. That contrast is what makes a great live performance feel like a journey rather than a playlist. And this is where the romantic tour becomes particularly interesting. The show is built around Bruno Mars as a performer, not simply Bruno Mars as a recording artist. His personality is part of the experience. His timing is part of the experience. His interaction with the audience is part of the experience. His band is part of the experience. And when all those elements come together, the stadium can feel like one enormous room. That is the goal. To make tens of thousands of people feel connected to one performance. And if the preparations at MetLife Stadium are any indication, the production is being treated with the scale required for an event of this magnitude. The stage has to be visible from the furthest sections. The sound has to travel across a massive space. The lighting has to create visual impact from every angle. The video screens have to keep the audience connected to what is happening on stage. And the transitions have to be smooth enough that the audience never feels the machinery behind the show. That is the art of stadium production. The bigger the show becomes, the more invisible the technical work should feel. But behind the scenes, there can be hundreds of people making it happen. Crew members, technicians, musicians, stage managers, lighting specialists, audio engineers, video operators, security teams, transportation crews, production staff. Everyone has a role, and everyone has to be ready, because when the show starts, there is no reset button. The doors open, the audience enters, the countdown reaches 0, and the performance begins. That is why soundcheck and rehearsal are so important. The team has to identify problems before the audience arrives. The microphones need to work. The instruments need to be balanced. The monitors need to be reliable. The lighting needs to hit at exactly the right moment. The video content needs to be synchronized. And Bruno needs to know that every major transition is ready. The audience may only see a few seconds, but those few seconds could represent hours of preparation. And that is something worth remembering when watching the finished concert footage. The spectacular moment on stage is the final product of an enormous operation. Now, there is another element that could make these MetLife shows particularly memorable: the audience itself. New York and New Jersey audiences are known for their energy, and Bruno Mars is performing in one of the largest entertainment markets in the United States. That creates a natural expectation for a huge crowd response. Imagine the opening of 24K Magic. The first beat hits. The crowd recognizes it. One section starts screaming, then another. And within seconds, the entire stadium erupts. Or imagine the opening piano notes of Just the Way You Are. The energy changes. People raise their phones. Couples sing together. Families sing together. Friends sing together. And suddenly, a song that has existed for years feels completely new. That is the power of nostalgia combined with live performance. Bruno's catalog gives him the ability to move between different moods without losing the audience. He can make the stadium dance. He can make it sing. He can make it laugh. He can make it quiet. And then he can bring the energy right back. That emotional range is what keeps a long concert from becoming repetitive. It creates peaks and valleys. And every peak becomes more powerful because of the moment that came before it. This is also why fans should pay attention to the sequencing of the show. A concert is not just about which songs are performed. It is about when they are performed. A massive hit at the right moment can create an explosion. A slower song after a high-energy sequence can give the audience a chance to breathe. Then another beat can bring everyone back to their feet. That pacing is part of the storytelling. And Bruno Mars has spent years mastering that art. Now imagine all of this inside MetLife Stadium. The scale becomes almost impossible to describe. The stage lights visible from the upper sections. The crowd stretching across the stadium. The sound echoing through the venue. The giant screens displaying Bruno and the band. And thousands of people holding their phones in the air. From the stage, the audience can look like an ocean of lights. From the audience, the stage can feel enormous. That visual contrast could produce some of the most memorable images of this leg of the tour. But there is still one thing fans cannot predict: the unexpected moment. Every major Bruno Mars concert has the potential for something that was not part of the original plan. Maybe it is a spontaneous joke. Maybe it is an extended vocal. Maybe the audience sings so loudly that Bruno reacts. Maybe a musician gets a special moment. Maybe a fan interaction becomes unforgettable. Or maybe something completely different happens. That is why live music remains special. You can watch the same song online hundreds of times, but you can never completely recreate the